the girls' horsemanship with their horses. Oh yeah, they had horses. And she was a good, very, very devout Catholic girl, okay? And, but she didn't have any, they had no children. She was not real young by that time, and he was middle-aged. But she tried to be more of a mother to the children, but they were older, they were beyond her help. Now the oldest girl, Julia, now this is my nephew's daughter, Julia. I don't know where she went to college, but anyway, she read a book, but Johnny met her. We met at my sister and brother-in-law's funerals. We went up to Louisville, Kentucky for their funerals and stuff. Well, we were there for their 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Johnny met his first cousin. Okay, and he said she was reading a book on the Jewish families in America, how many of them there were, what their names were, and how they had a lot of money. And she had written down the names to look for when she went to college.
That's funny.
Okay.
That's really funny.
Yes, it's funny. we thought it was funny.
Talk about planning ahead.
But guess what? She found one.
And she married
And
him.
married him. His name was Eifler. Eifler.
Eifler.
Okay. He was a stockbroker in New York City, but they lived out in Westchester County. Nice. Okay. Now, guess what?
What?
He had an appointment at the Twin Towers the morning of 9/11, and he missed his train in, or he would have been there.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
What was his name?
So fine.
Was his name Charles?
Huh?
What was his name? Eifler?
Eifler was his last name. I don't know first. I can't remember it now.
Wow.
But anyway,
he missed the train.
Yeah.
That's,
But anyway, now, she finally got enough. Somehow, she and the Jewish guy didn't get along, got a divorce, but they had 4 sons. One of them had some kind of hereditary disease from the family, and one of them was brilliant, and one of them was not. And this guy, which one is it? I've forgotten the first name. Anyway, I've got it in my book. But he contacted me. He wanted to learn about his Humphrey heritage. Anyway, that's who those people are. Now,
let
besides...
me ask Bill. Bill, do you need something else to drink? To wash that down? You need some juice?
I got
juice? Okay.
So Julia was the one who married Eifler. There were 2 others. One joined the army, and she was very special. She was assigned as a guard for Madeleine Albright, who was what was she in? Anyway, very important in the president's cabinet.
Right. Okay.
So Marilyn Albright, she was assigned to guard her, and she never married, as far as I know. Never had any children. And then there was another one that was. I don't know what happened to her.
Now these would be your great nieces?
Yeah, they would be great nieces.
Great nieces.
And I just don't even know what's happened to them. And they don't care about me, so it doesn't matter. But I just sometimes wish we had kept. See, my sister Violet was very much a family person, and she wanted to keep in touch, keep family ties. And she would be very upset if she knew that we just don't even know each other.
Now, wasn't there a big gap between you and your sister? Didn't you tell me that you were a younger child?
Yeah.
And you were
Yes, they were grown and married by the time
when you were born.
I never knew them as single women, young people.
So
They
your
were
parents.
they were like having aunts that
So
came to see us.
How old was your mom when you were born? Like in her 40s?
My mother was just before her 40th birthday, and my father was 44. And they lived long lives, and I was the one that was with them the rest of their lives.
Right.
So, I mean, my sister Violet got cancer, and I went up and I stayed with her as long as I could, but I had responsibilities here. Johnny was still at home, Bill. I didn't stay, couldn't stay, I had to leave. I left her. She was in Baptist Hospital up there when I left, and I visited her. She was a very brave person. She, with the kid, anybody the children came to visit, she would make them bring her wig, because she'd put her wig on and makeup and sit up and try to be friendly.
I'll be right back. I gotta check
Okay.
on my clothes here.
Yeah.
Hold that thought.
Very brave. I just felt so bad. I stayed with her as long as I could. I have to go. And I told her, I said, I love you, Violet. And she said, I love you too. And I left. And after she died, her husband came to visit us. He came down and stayed with Barbara for a while, and you helped Barbara on the farm. Charles Sr. came and visited Barbara and helped her harvest her crop and stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And they were, I have no, I have a lot to be thankful for in that I had them. And then as the younger one, I had to go get her out and rescue her in Louisiana and we took care of her till she died. But that's, my family is all gone except for those that I don't know. My mother had many half-sisters and brothers. Her father married a young woman that didn't have any sense at all, and then he was late in life, and that was before the pill, and he
Before the
just
pill.
had one baby after another, and then he died and left them, and they couldn't earn a living. I don't know. They all wandered off somewhere. And that's sad because they would be my half cousins,
Does
half aunts and uncles. There was only one of them that was worth a damn, and she's the one that brought me my real grandmother's little book that had written her important dates in it. And she brought it and gave it to me, and that was a nice gesture.
was that the beginning of your Home Fleet book? When she brought you those dates?
No, because it was about my mother's people, Humphreys from my father's people. I didn't learn about my mother's people until later, because I didn't have anybody my mother was an only child, and her mother had died quite young, and there was no, I never met anybody, well, old Aunt Mandy, and she had died. I didn't have anybody to help me get started. But my mother would sometimes say, well, my grandmother raised me, and she was a marshal from Virginia. And yeah, she was from the family of Chief Justice John Marshall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if you had known the circumstances in Kentucky, you'd have said, aha, no, I don't think so. But you know, I got to checking, and I found one of the brothers had wandered off down there, and sure enough, she was from that family.
So let me ask you a question. So back in like the 40s, when you guys became of age,
Yeah.
was there a, like today we talk about Planned Parenthood and people, getting on the pill, like you had mentioned the pill just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Was
we
there?
didn't have it yet.
I know they didn't have it yet. Was there a concept of how you get pregnant? Were people aware that?
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That
I mean, at least all adults knew about it. I think that there was so little sex education
right.
and so little talk of sex amongst nice people or anybody that I think that children probably grew up not knowing that if they played around with each other, somebody's going to get pregnant. There's probably a lot of people got pregnant because, but look, listen, times were hard, and there was a dormitory sort of atmosphere amongst families where the parents had a nice bedroom downstairs, but upstairs they had beds, and the kids all slept upstairs. Okay?
Right.
And I've heard stories about playing around upstairs after the grown-ups went to bed.
Right.
And there were kids that didn't know. They just did what kind of felt natural to them. And so things like that happened. But there wasn't a lot of it. There wasn't a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just among certain people. Now, I don't know but that there was almost no organized type of education along that line.
Right. Well, I know.
So it's a wonder there wasn't one hell of a lot more of it.
Right. Do you know the name Margaret Sanger?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she had this whole campaign,
Yeah.
but I think she was a communist.
Yes, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think she was smart to bring in sex education and help women to understand,
Yeah.
and men too to understand how,
Yeah.
the birth cycle
Well,
works and how.
I remember my nephew was like, he loved me, and I think he was about 12 years old one time, and I was in the bedroom, and he, near the bed, and he pushed me on the bed and kind of lay down on top of me and hugged me, and then my sister came in and made him get off of me, but he was kind of something in his mind made him think that this was going to be something to do, and he didn't know what to do, and he wasn't doing it, but he was kind of leaning in that direction, and she had to then had to lecture him about, this is your relative, you don't do that, and you have to wait till you get grown up, and all that stuff.
Right.
But it's a wonder. I think, birth control was a very iffy thing, and it was not anything that people looked forward to doing, especially if they were newlyweds, to have to worry about birth control all the time.
Right.
And so I think that's That's why there were abortions, and there were people that there were doctors that did
And
abortions.
this was, we're talking in the 40s.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There was some people went up to, I think somewhere around Punta Gorda. There was a retired doctor that had. They said he had a little abortion clinic in his house, and everybody the law looked the other way because he was performing a service to the community. Now, he charged, but it wasn't outlandish. Now, I knew people that went to him, and they said he had stuff in the closet, and he opened the closet, and there was everything he needed. And when they were through, it went back in the closet. Now,
Hopefully he cleaned it.
huh?
Hopefully he cleaned all the stuff.
He had a nurse, and I guess they did. I don't know. How do I know? But he was an MD. He was just retired, but he
Now,
knew.
was this in the 40s, 50s?
Well, I don't know how long he wasn't. He was getting older, so probably that if he died, there probably wasn't anybody to take his place. But that's the only one I've heard of, and it was in the 40s.
What was his name, do you know?
No, I never did know his name. I just heard about him.
Back then, you probably just,
Huh?
back then,
Yeah.
you probably just, when did the phone system come in? Did you have a phone when you were in the 40s, when you were like a teenager, or when you got to be in your 20s? Did you have a telephone?
Yeah. Just house phones, no cells.
Oh yeah, house phones.
Yeah.
So people could call him.
Yeah, make an appointment. They went up there.
Right.
Yeah. And I heard one girl say that he lectured her. She had a new friend that went there. That he lectured her, and he said, "Sleep with your feet in a 10-gallon bucket. 2 5s won't do."
That's funny.
And I thought, well, my God, that was.
Sleep with
But that's not very specific. I mean, it would have been helpful if.
That's classic. That's really funny, Pat.
That's right. I heard. But keep your feet.
Keep your feet.
Didn't tell a jug or something. I don't know what it was, jug or what the word, something. But that must have been a very old saying. But,
Right.
Because I don't know. I never saw a 10-gallon jar or jug in my life.
Right.
I thought that was funny. She said, but she.
Keep your feet in a
You sleep
with your feet in a 5-gallon bucket.
In a 10-gallon bucket. 2 5s won't do.
Okay. Got it.
That's what he said. Now, so I thought, well, he was a nice old man. He was doing them a favor, and he was getting a little retirement income.
Yeah.
And I could not condemn him because he believed that this was a service and that it was saving a lot of heartaches. And it probably was. You know, I mean, it's like this niece I'm talking about, the one that's baking the cookies. Her mother allowed her to date a much older man, and he got her pregnant. And she was sent away to have the baby. She had a baby. She was like 15 years old. And she never got over it because, well, I guess you wouldn't. She had to give up the baby, but her mother would not allow her. She forbade her to ever mention it to any of her friends or anybody. And she said, it's a terrible thing to go through something like that, which is the most important thing that's ever happened to you up to then, and you can never talk about it. And she thought about the baby, and she couldn't talk to anybody about the baby. Well, it bothered her for so long. Now, I tell you, after she married my nephew, Charlie, after they'd been married a few years, he thought that he would do her a favor by trying to find out what happened to her baby. And he did.
Really?
He found her child.
Wow.
She was, and they met. They met and got to talk. And I think it solved her problem. She was satisfied after that. But he did that for her. It cost him quite a bit of money and time, but he did it.
Good for him.
Yeah. But she found the girl, and she was in a good home, and she was attractive. She had her picture. She ordered a couple of little outfits, one matching, and she had her wear it and had her picture taken. And I saw the picture, and she was a pretty girl, a little overweight, but pretty. But anyway, see, there were so many things like that happened, and it's very hard. This is a hard situation, and I think the church has done the best they could to deal with it, but nobody can really solve this problem. It's just going to be with us forever. It probably has been from the beginning.
Yeah, there's documentation of Native Americans even having abortions. Now, I don't know the procedure. I understood, they would make...
They might have had, maybe they have some kind of weed that would cause it, I don't know. It's bad. This is terrible. And
That's one...
I'm sure that's what Bill's mother thought I should do when I was pregnant with Barbara, because I was threatened with a miscarriage. It's a wonder, thousand wonders I didn't lose her.
And what was the reason that they thought?
Well,
I remember you told me about the faulty fetus. That's what...
Yeah. Well, I suppose they just gave me medication for thyroid, and I was anemic. I don't remember. There were 4 things that Dr. Selden gave me. 4 things, and they stopped the problem immediately. Just like that, nothing to it. Stopped right there. But he says, you don't have to have this baby.
Really?
And I looked at her and I said, yes, I do. I have to have this baby.
And what did they say was wrong? It was a faulty fetus? Is that what you told me, the word they used?
The doctor that my mother-in-law took me to said, a miscarriage is nature's way of getting rid of a faulty fetus. And it probably is in many, many cases. But it doesn't mean it always is. I just was lacking, and we've been living with them, and the diet was not very good. Bill's mother was a stingy person. She's not listening. And we had chicken was cheap, and that's about all we ate. And when I was living at home, my mother made sure I had some red meat, regularly. And she gave me vitamins and stuff. Well, Bill's mother didn't believe in that. Okay, so we lived there for a while, and I guess I'd gotten anemic. It means low blood iron.
Yeah, your hemoglobin.
Yeah, hemoglobin was low. And I don't know what else, but I was just lacking in something, and he supplied that, and I was all right. And I carried her for 8 months. She was born in.
But they didn't say anything about Kathy, right? When you were carrying Kathy, did they say anything about?
No. Well, I didn't bleed. I was bleeding every month with Barbara.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh.
Well, that's what I was doing when I say was threatened to miscarriage. I mean, listen, one time, the time when my mother came and got me, I sat on the toilet and the blood gushed out of me.
Wow.
Now, I thought it was over, but it wasn't then. But I hadn't done anything to cause it. But I was trying to take care of myself.
So you thought you were going to miscarry?
My mother had my dad. My mother didn't drive. She had my dad drive me down there to the beach. We were staying at the beach cottage, the Mellors Beach Cottage, and she got me and took me into Dr. Selden, and he said, "You can't have a miscarriage at 4 months." 4 months I'd done this. He says the baby's head is too big to pass through the cervix. The cervix does not dilate at 4 months.
Right.
It has to wait until the hormones are ready. And you will be stuck with them trying to have an abortion, and it can't happen. And you might die. Back then, of course, they would have operated on me, probably saved my life. But women did die from that sort of thing. And my mother never got along with his mama after that.
The old in-law feud.
Huh?
The in-law feud.
No, that's right.
That's what they call it, the in-law feud.
Yes.
I got to start thinking about getting ready, so
Anyway,
let me get Bill over.
But this is all in the past. But you look at it and you say, these problems are still going on. But when people are on the pill, they don't worry about getting pregnant when they don't want to be pregnant. And I presume that if they get pregnant, they can go get help and get, and be well and have a well baby.
Well, you know what? I want to tell you thank you for having the spirit of conviction to not abort Barbara.
Well, I certainly was thankful. I just knew, I cannot tell you. God just told me, you don't want to lose this baby. You want to have it. This is very important.
Well, it's important now because look at who's Barbara's
right,
like your right now. I'm not trying to say anything negative against Kathleen, but Barbara's like your only daughter.
No, but you don't know. You don't know when they're born what they're going to turn out like. But I mean, there was just never any doubt in my mind. I had to have that baby. See, I mean, and I could only thank God for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she knows that. I've explained that to her. But she was a smart little kid. Boy, I mean, she remembers things that I would not have thought she could remember when she was just a toddler, and she could remember them. She remembers things about her grandmother. See, I would never, ever say anything bad about Bill's mother to the children. But Barbara was smart, and she observed things.
She picked up on it.
And she remembers it and puts them in perspective. So I don't have to tell her. It's interesting, isn't it? Kathy is oblivious. She doesn't remember anything that happened to her when she was a kid. And Kathy. I don't know about Johnny. Johnny remembers things. He remembered things wrong. He remembered his imagination.
Yeah, well, Johnny's...
Instead of what happened.
Johnny's demented.
Yeah, well...
The thing that bothered me about Kathy is when she was asking me for help with Bill's radiation, being exposed to radiation.
Yeah.
She filed the paperwork, and she said she was an only child.
Yeah. She did?
Yes.
She actually said that?
Yes. She put it down that she was an only child. Meaning, if he passes away, if he gets awarded the money and then passes away, then you pass away, She gets the money because she's the only child.
Yeah.
She said that. I wouldn't lie to you.
No, I know you would.
And we went to remember the two places we went to go look at places for you to live?
Oh, yeah.
I went with her to Brookdale, and I went to the place where Aunt Bo was. And then I went to another place, and all three places, Kathy said, I'm the only child. And I just kept looking at her like, because they said, do you have other, she's like, well, I live in Jacksonville, so, I can't really get involved in this, but I just want to get my parents, in a place that.
And she doesn't mention that she had any
Nope.
siblings.
Didn't mention she had a brother, Johnny, who lived in town, or a sister, Barbara, in North Carolina. Nope.
I don't know what in the world.
She wanted, what it is this is what my interpretation of it is, and I try not to judge Kathy, okay?
Yeah.
She's rubbed me wrong the way she's treated me, but I try not to judge her.
Yeah.
But the way I think that she thinks is she wants to make herself more important.
Yes. Yes.
She wants to make herself more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she doesn't want to do any work. She doesn't want to help out.
She wants to arrange it so other people will do it, that she'll get the credit. I know, yeah. Well, I'm not.
And I don't mean to say that to hurt your feelings. I was
no.
just shocked.
No,
I was shocked that she was saying that.
I appreciate you telling me that.
I was in shock. I'm like,
Well, I'm sure you were. Now, I need to know that, so that's okay.
and I didn't, out of respect for her, I didn't correct her. I could have said, but Kathy, what are you talking about? You got 2 kids. You got 2 siblings. One of them lives here. I could have said that to her, but I didn't.
Well, she has to be the important person. See, she was nice to her. She was good to her little sister until the little sister got old enough to compete with her. And then she got very much jealous of her. She was, I'll tell you what. When she was in school at the beach school, it's a small school, we knew the teachers kind of and everything. And Kathy she was doing okay, and this teacher liked her a lot. But the teacher told me, she said, I don't know what, she has some kind of a problem, and she said, I just didn't understand it. But then I went back down to this was like she was in the 4th grade. Okay, maybe the 6th grade. Okay, so she goes and visits her friend who is a teacher in 2 grades lower, where Barbara was. And she looks up on the display up there, and she sees a paper with Barbara's name on it. And she goes up there and she looks at it, and she said, oh my God, now I know what's wrong with Kathy. The little sister had such a beautiful paper, beautiful work. She was blown away. It was put up on the board as an example. And Kathy was not that good. See? In other words, this teacher, she told me, she said, and once I saw what her little sister was capable of, I knew that Kathy had a problem of not feeling up to scratch. So you remember that. Now, Kathy made good grades, but she had to work hard for it. She worked very diligently. She did well, but it didn't come easy for her. With Barbara could do it perfectly without half trying. Now that higher IQ probably. I don't know how much, they didn't tell us. But that is probably the root of the problem, that Kathy felt outdone by a little sister, and that was not something she could handle. You see that?
Yes, I do. I'm thinking
Okay.
about it. Yes.
You see that?
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yes. because I can remember. Now I want to tell you something that I have remembered. It's a nice little story. But there at the beach, I'm in the bedroom. The driveway goes under the bedroom, and the cars park under there. There's no car there, but Kathy and Barbara are down there. They're little kids. They're doing something, playing under the house, and I'm upstairs with this window here, and I'm ironing. I'm just ironing. It's quiet, and I hear them talking. And they apparently, Barbara found a dead frog in the driveway on shell. Everything was shell. Was a dead frog, and she's saying, "Kathy, why does he look so sad?" And Kathy says, "That's because the happy part of him's gone up to heaven, Barbie." And I thought, isn't that sweet? The frog looks sad because the happy part's gone up to heaven. And I thought, well, they're learning something from Sunday school and and their prayers at night. But I mean, she was kind to her little sister when they were small. But Barbara wasn't a competition at that age.
What church did you go to when you were on the beach?
It was a Chapel by the Sea.
Chapel by the Sea,
which
okay.
was actually it was a Presbyterian, but they did not ever emphasize that. It was just we all thought it was just a neutral church, Christian church, you know.
Right, I've been there a few times. It's a beautiful church.
Well, it was just a little place.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like now after Ian.
They say it's completely destroyed.
Oh.
Completely.
But that's the church that's laid out
Looks
like a boat.
Looks like a ship.
Looks like a ship. It's a brilliant design.
Yeah.
Let me get Bill up. Hey, Bill, you want to get up?
Yeah.
All right, get up. I got to go get ready because I'm going to church.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Cheryl's coming over for a couple hours,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry to take your time to tell you all this family crap.
You're not taking my time. I like to listen to you.
Yeah.
Well,
I know sometimes I'm running around getting stuff ready, but
I'm just telling you certain little things that kind of point to what the problems were
right.
and how we solved them, maybe. But
Well, let's move on to the next. Bill, you want to sit in your chair or you want to take a nap? Why don't you sit in your chair? We can turn the TV on.
come on.
Yeah, I think so.
Look,
And then, Bill, when we
you're
come
not comfortable sitting there.
when we come back, we'll go on a buggy ride.
Oh, I haven't taken that pill. I
Oh, yeah,
wrote down that I
Alright,
took
you
it,
do
but I
that
didn't
one.
take it.
Where are you two going?
I'm gonna go get ready for church,
Yeah.
and she's getting her pill.
Oh.
You want to hop up on here on your walker? Here, let me pull you out. Let me pull you out of there. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, just you get ready to go.
You know, my mom had a walker.
Yeah.
Do you know what she called it?
Why?
She called the walker Earl. Because I used to say to my mom, "Are you bringing your walker with you?" And she's like, "No, I'm not taking that walker." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What would be a good name for that walker?" And she met a guy when she was in rehab, and his name was Earl. And she goes, "I'm going to call my walker Earl." So from then on, I said, "Mom, we're going out, and Earl's coming with us."
I like that.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Earl's coming with
Yeah.
us.
Well, we got Earl and Pearl here. Mine's Pearl.
I enjoy talking with you, Pat.
Well, thank you.
Unfortunately-
Thank you for listening. And I know that you understand what I'm saying. And
Well, I've always felt very close to you and Bill, so.
I know you're not going to take